It has been almost 2 years since this pandemic happened, and all of us are being affected because of these situations. But did you aware that mental health has been one of the biggest issues in Malaysia right now? The government urged Malaysia's citizens to be much more aware of their family members and people around them. Mental health has been one of the biggest reasons of the rise of the suicide case in Malaysia. Police records 468 suicide cases from January to May 2021. So today we are going to talk about stress, and we're going to share with you 5 tips to change the way you think about stress. But before we go to the tips, Hani Mastura are going to define the definition of stress.
So, what exactly is stress? Stress is our body's response to pressure. Many different situations or life events can cause stress. It is often triggered when we experience something new, unexpected, or that threatens our sense of self, or when we feel we have little control over certain situations. We all deal with stress differently. Our ability to cope can depend on our genetics, early life events, personality, and economic circumstances. When we encounter stress, our body produces stress hormones that trigger a fight or flight response and activate our immune system. This helps us respond quickly to dangerous situations. Sometimes, this stress response can be useful. It can help us push through fear or pain so we can run a marathon or deliver a speech, for example. Our stress hormones will usually go back to normal quickly once the stressful event is over, and there won't be any lasting effects. However, too much stress can cause negative effects. It can leave us in a permanent stage of fight or flight, leaving us overwhelmed or unable to cope. Long term, this can affect our physical and mental health. So now that we know what is stress, here are 5 ways that we can do to change our perspective towards stress.
Step number 1 is to change our perception of stress. The idea that stress is always bad is an often unchallenged belief. It is promoted in medical centers, is told out in books and articles, and it even lurks at the core of stress reduction programs that promise to replace the discomfort of stress with feelings of ease and calm. However, this belief is not only false, but can be counterproductive. Research by Stanford psychologist Alia Crum shows that our stress mindset determines our biological response to stress. When we believe stress to be good for us, our bodies actually release hormones that enable us to face our challenges and grow as a result. Skill number 2 is to modify the meaning we attach to stress. Often there is an underlying fear of incompetence that leads to stressful reactions to stress. When we believe that we won't be able to cope with the situation, we debilitate ourselves with worry. The way out is to think of past experiences when we have reason to challenge us, or to think of others who have done so in similar situations. This helps build self-efficacy and gives us hope that we can do the same. It is also important to notice if you are catastrophizing what can potentially happen, thus blowing the situation out of proportion.
The third way is appreciate the larger perspective. Spend a minute or two reflecting on why a particular situation is stressful for you. Rather than focusing on wishing it away or doubting your ability to cope, focus instead on why the situation is important for you. You likely wouldn't worry much if your neighbor's child was doing badly at school, or if your friends had a bad relationship with her parents. Although you certainly may offer support, think of worrying as a signal that the situation is meaningful to you, and such as something worth addressing wholeheartedly. The fourth way, to learn to handle uncertainty. Sometimes your ability to take action toward the source of stress may be limited for reasons beyond your control. It's important to respect this. Otherwise, you try to control what you have little power to change, such as other people's behavior or natural events. This leads to getting caught up in insecure striving, which leads to unhappiness if you don't achieve your goals, and false sense of security if you do. Mindfulness, especially self-compassion, meditation, and body scans can help you stay with the discomfort of uncertainty while staying open to possibility. Another powerful way of letting go of the desire to control is to imagine it as a load that you are dragging uphill. Loosen your hold and free yourself to the mystery of the unknown.
Skill number 5. Build your inner and outer resources. Stress can take a toll on our physical and mental well-being, especially given that we are wired for periods of short-term stress followed by longer periods for recovery. That's practically impossible in today's stressful environment, and building our inner and outer resources is the only way we can face the barrage of stress with grace and equanimity. Look after your sleep, diet, and exercise. Stay engaged in meaningful work, and reach out to others not only for support but for connection. As Stanford psychologist Kelly McGonigal explains in the book The Upside of Stress, connection releases oxytocin that initiates the tend and befriend response as opposed to the flight or fight responses, and makes us courageous in the face of stress. So the next time you're tossing and turning in bed and wishing in your stress away, take a deep breath and stay present with it. Then you can decide whether to do something about it or drop it like a hot potato. So the conclusion is, as my colleague said before, change the way you think about stress so that you can live a meaningful and mindful thinking, that you can have better environment for your life, for your mind, and for your soul. Thank you.